there, so today on Booner School, as I said before, I was telling you a little bit I was going to start working some angles on scrapes for you and showing you kind of what we do. Well, I found the perfect scenario today. I'm out here shed hunting and I never come into this bedding area. I just never do. The only time I do is when I'm shed hunting in the spring. I don't hunt this spot, but what I want to do is show you a scenario here that would be perfect if I wanted to hunt this. So what I've got here is I've got this big old scrape. Now this is February 21st here in the evening here, and this scrape is still being messed with. Now I don't know if these bucks are messing with it because there could be some late fawns that still haven't been bred yet, but most likely what it is, it's just these deer communicate. You know, they're used to working this. There's a big grapevine hanging here that these deer, you know, are hitting right underneath of it. And what we've got here is this is a real thick bedding area in here. And so these deer love to bed in this spot, and it's probably about I'm going to say about a 10-acre bedding area. And then it leads to big open timber here, you know, going this direction. Goes up onto this timber, and then up in here you got a food source as you drop off this ridge through some more timber, and then it goes into a bottom where there's a bunch of, you know, fields and stuff. So what these deer are doing is they're bedding in here, and we've got a funnel right here. See this terrain feature down in here pushes these deer right to this scrape. And so when they come out of this bedding area, they got to work around this point. They just have to. And same here, unless they want to go directly over, but with the right wind direction, you know, which here would be a south-southwest wind, which is your typical wind most of the time early season or going into the pre-rut. And so what's going to happen is you're going to get these deer coming to here. They're going to work this scrape. They're going to head up into this more open timber and work their way out to those fields. So this scrape is 75 yards out of the major bedding area. This is a primary scrape. This is the perfect scrape to, if you're going to hunt a scrape, if you're not going to hunt one on the edge of the field, but you want to get in the timber a little bit, say you're hunting an area that the deer are just so pressured that, you know, you're really struggling getting them in daylight. So this is where I would hunt. You know, I'd come to a spot like this close to bedding. I'm not going to dump right into their bedding because, you know, you're very limited on how you're going to hunt that many times if you only got 1 or 2 properties to hunt. So this case scenario here, you get yourself an access into a stand in here that you can get in and out really quietly, and you're only leaving one trail in and out. And you could hunt this then maybe 2 or 3 times in a row in the right conditions, you know, as pre-rut is here and right in the, you know, before major rut, when these bucks are really trying to get on their feet and find those available does, or, you know, they're starting to feel dominant. They want to come in and start working their scrapes. It's on the edge of their bedding areas, you know, and this is the perfect scrape for something like that. What I'll do then is, like, if I was going to hunt this, I would come in here about, you know, probably somewhere around October 12th, somewhere in there, and I would get this thing going with some, you know, Black Widow scrape beads, Scrapemaster Scent, and I would get it started. And I would get them bucks like, you know, who the heck is this other deer? You know, and I'd even put maybe a little bit of doe matriarch in there, because these does get very territorial too. And a lot of people don't understand just how edgy big adult does that are used to having these areas can get over their territory. So if you start fooling with them and you start getting another big doe sent in here, now what you got to be careful is you can't do this a lot. You can't come in here constant and do it. So what I would do is I'd come in, you know, about 3 weeks before I want to hunt it, 2 to 3 weeks. I'd start it, I'd get it going, I'd have my stand set and everything, and then I'd get out. Then right before I'm going to hunt again, I would slide in, I'd work it, and then I'd start hunting it. Because, you know, and I would try to time it with the good moon phases, to where, like, if you look at your moon guide and you can see that, you know, like the red moon, where your moon times where the moon is rising or falling at those perfect times of day, like an hour before daylight or dark. That way it really can trigger, or like an hour after daylight or an hour before dark. Those are the rising and mooning, those rising and falling, you know, moon times really trigger deer movement. And I'm a firm believer in that. I really am. I've seen it happen way too many times. And so during those cases, that will give you the perfect scenario to really up your chances of that deer wanting to get off his belly and come out of this bedding area, work this scrape, and head out to the, you know, the feed fields looking for, you know, the available does. Now this is especially a scenario that I would hunt, like I said, if I was hunting a property that, you know, was definitely really pressured, and what I'm experiencing in this farm is exactly what I'm just talking about. And so in this case, this just may be what I may have to do this year, because I got a really good deer in this farm. And I, you know, whether it's somebody that I'm like a client or somebody I'm guiding or myself or whatever, we may actually have to get a little aggressive and hunt this spot, because what I'm figuring out, and that's kind of why I'm in here digging this bedding area today, I'm finding where people are hunting, you know, encroaching the line seriously, and, you know, baiting and doing some things like that, and it's really making it tough, and my deer are really getting edgy, you know, on this farm. And, you know, when you've got access to a farm, you're really trying to do your best to leave the deer unpressured and, you know, pick them off on the edges, but sometimes you just can't do that. And so in this case scenario here, this is one where I might definitely be hunting this scrape pre-rut and trying to pick off one of these big bucks coming out of this bedding area. So I hope this helps you today. This is our Booner School idea for today, and I just, you know, it was the perfect scenario to run by, and I hope that hope it helps you out. So, you know, keep in mind using those black widow deer lures in a situation like this, and it'll put a deer in front of you, you know, before it's too dark. In fact, right here's another scrape. So you can see what you got here is a scrape line. Actually, you know, this deer's coming right down, right up out of this trail all the way up into here, hits another one, and he's going right into the hardwoods. It's just like an open book. I mean, it's just laid out right in front of you, and you can really see that sign this time of year.